Okay.
Yeah.
Homeostasis, Lorraine.
A constant or a stable condition. The Americans have a very nice term that they use to talk about the steady state of the body. Yeah. Now, you need to know what it's all about. This maintenance of a constant internal environment. Now, your internal environment, what is it? It is primarily the layer of tissue fluid that surrounds your cells. So it is the internal environment of the cells in your body. But it's not an individual cell only and its little bit of tissue fluid. It's also the whole of the organism. And there are certain conditions that must be kept at a constant that we'll quickly refer to. Yes, Colin.
Yeah, so remember, we as endothermic organisms, and that's important that you know that we are endothermic, so we must maintain a stable or a constant environment.
Yes, and specifically as far as temperature is concerned.
And I think this little graph shows it very, very nicely because we have an optimal environment. Optimal means most favorable.
That's not our internal environment that we're talking about.
So
everything inside just fine.
Just ignore the word stress there. But anything in our bodies needs to be at a constant state. And I think you must stress down the control.
Yeah, I will. But just about this stress thing, what they're talking about here is not the stress of being tense about an exam. It is
the body.
It is stress to the body.
Yeah.
Too much water is stressful for the body. Too little salt is stressful for the body. So when they talk about the stress, they're actually talking about the stimulus that needs to be returned, or the problem that needs to be returned. Yes.
Right, but if you remember this in this sequence, I think all of the following, and this is page 25 and 26 of your guideline document. It's this can be an essay question on its own.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's about homeostasis through negative feedback. And what we're going to try to do here is explain to you the term negative feedback. And here we have our optimal environment. Everything above that optimal, then somehow there needs to be some correcting mechanism. Something must be rectified to bring it back to normal. Below normal, something must happen to take it back and return to the normal state. So if we can just leave the control so that we can see maybe that we can... Oopsie.
I told you.
Oopsie.
Get out.
What is that?
I don't know, but let's go to the...
Can you cancel? Can you see then cancel?
I haven't got the faintest here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
There it is. There we are.
Okay, so there we go. We have to scroll now. We can't go any further. So first of all, there it is. Those are the steps. First, step number 1, there's an imbalance if it goes above or below. An imbalance, message must be sent to that control center. Then the correcting mechanism must be applied to that target organ that must carry out that corrective action to return the balance, to return or restore the balance. The same.
Yeah, same as for the negative.
Yeah. And it's only a feedback mechanism when it comes below and some other mechanism must come in play to take it back to normal.
Right, let's look at the steps in a negative feedback mechanism. You've just mentioned them.
Yeah.
There's an imbalance, and then this imbalance can be a lot of things, people. Remember, we need to control salt balance in the body, with that, the water balance. We need to control temperature. We need to control the amount of nutrients, waste, not too much, not too little. And on all of them, the moment there is an imbalance, then a message is sent to the control center. And the control center will vary. It will depend on what it is. For instance, could we have the previous one? Sorry, it moved now. As Colin said, and then there must be a response and an instruction and a return. And the first example that you're going to discuss with us is the sugar levels. Now, remember you did this in grade 11 when we did nutrition. You also did it in grade 9. Now it is about the endocrine system and the maintenance of the sugar level. So 2 parts that go together here. Right.
Right, we're not going into that, but let's look at how the sugar level in your body is through negative feedback, of course, how it is controlled. Once again, if there's an imbalance, and what is that imbalance is that the sugar level, the glucose levels of the blood is too high. When can that happen? That's also an important question. That is after you have taken in a meal that might be rich in carbohydrates or sugar and starches.
Yeah.
So if you
You
normally
just drank
eat,
a Coke, which is not good for you. Sugar levels spike.
nothing is good.
Yeah.
Right. Then that
Sorry,
message,
no brand name mentioned.
Yeah.
Just soda with too much sugar, which
Right.
we all love, don't we? Yes.
So once there is too much glucose in the blood, so the blood sugar level is too high, that message is sent to the pancreas and especially to the beta cells. And the beta cells must come now and it must secrete insulin, and that is the hormone. Insulin is secreted, and what does insulin do? Insulin, it goes to the liver and to your muscle cells, and it converts all that excess glucose into glycogen and stores it in your liver and your muscle cells. And that is how blood sugar is removed and it returns back to normal. But we don't eat 24 hours non-stop, and it might be that the blood sugar level it's used up during cellular respiration and it drops below normal. You see, once again, a message. If you follow that message must be sent. I don't know what happened to that, but the message sent again to the pancreas, and this time it is glucagon, the other hormone that must be secreted, and the correcting mechanism is that glucagon goes to the liver, takes that glycogen there because there's no sugar that is stored, and converts it back into glucose. Glucose is then added to the blood, and the blood sugar level returns back to normal.
The optimal concentration.
So the negative feedback is here between insulin and glucagon. Please don't get confused. Make sure that you write down glucose, glucagon, and glycogen because they are so close to one another.
Spelling does
It
matter.
does matter.
And you see, this is actually what negative feedback means, that the concentration of a substance regulates its concentration. What do we mean? Too much sugar. The process is put into place to reduce the concentration. Too little sugar, the process is put into place to increase the sugar. So that is what a negative feedback mechanism is all about. Carbon dioxide levels, you also did that in
Also grade 11.
grade 11, yes.
Gaseous exchange.
Gaseous exchange.
Right, carbon dioxide, when it combines with water, it forms carbonic acid, and when it breaks down into hydrogen and bicarbonate ions, but it's the hydrogen ions. And because of that, it decreases the pH in the blood, and when the pH decreases, it stimulates the breath rate or the breathing rate to increase. And let's see, where is it then? You see, blood is taken from the heart to your brain and to the body. But blood is supposed to take oxygen to it, not carbon dioxide. So your body is never sensitive for an excess of oxygen, but more for an excess of carbon dioxide because it's toxic. And where is it? It's in your carotid artery, the neck artery that goes
There
up to
you
the brain,
find the receptor, yeah.
and the aortic arc before it goes to the body. You see, if there is, the receptors are situated here for too much carbon dioxide. And your breathing or your control center is the medulla oblongata here, and the medulla oblongata will send messages to your intercostal muscles and the diaphragm. It will contract much harder, and that is why if you keep in your breath, you will find the first thing you do is, I want to get rid of it and take in a
Faster
deep
and
breath.
deeper breathing, as well as a faster heartbeat to get the oxygenated blood to the body.
There we go.
Right.
The
ADH
next-
is about water control, also grade
Yes.
11. So you can see
Everything.
why you had to study in grade 11?
Yes. So are you going to take them through, Lorraine?
Yes.
I hope you can see there.
Yeah. H is about water control. If your body has too little water in it, in other words, you need water, a stimulus will be sent to the hypothalamus, and from the pituitary gland, ADH will be secreted. What ADH will do is to make the collecting ducts of your kidneys more permeable to water, and the water will go to the bloodstream. And yes, you will have an increase in water in the bloodstream, returning to normal. On the other hand, if your body has too much water, you want to get rid of water, then the secretion of ADH will be inhibited, stopped, lowered, so that the Bellini ducts or the collecting ducts will become less permeable to water. Water won't be able to move out and into the bloodstream. More of the water will be excreted as part of urine. And now you got rid of some of the excess water, and your water concentration returns to normal.
And if they have listened carefully, we've done sugar, we've done the carbon dioxide, now we've done the water. And if they have listened carefully, it's about what happens when it becomes too much or too little. And the correcting mechanism that must come into play. And there you have it. You see? And the last one.
Salt level is aldosterone.
Yes.
That is secreted by the adrenal glands. If you
Let's
need,
show them there.
Yeah, there it is. If you need to hold salt back, then when it comes too low, then more aldosterone will be secreted. If you've got too much salt, less aldosterone, and you will get rid of it as part of urine and sweat.
And that is just the opposite. When it's too high, then less aldosterone will be secreted, so fewer sodium will be absorbed and more will be excreted.